Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We have the winners and losers of the trade deadline coming right at you right here. Blake, it was a crazy trade deadline. Before we get into what we think or which teams we think were winners or losers, what was the trade, I guess, that you were a little surprised by?
Surprised. I was surprised by the return of Tanner Scott, basically because he's a pure rental reliever. The Eloy Jimenez to Baltimore kind of threw me off. I wasn't expecting that one. Like you said on the Jorge Soler video we did, that one really came out of left field. Wasn't kind of expecting the Giants to move off that quick from a 3-year contract, but yeah, it was a crazy deadline. One of the busiest deadlines we've had in quite a long time. So it was exciting though. There's been a lot of underwhelming deadlines where nothing really happens at all. So yeah, this even leading up to the deadline, prior to yesterday, it was very active. So it's good to see.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. Our first winner of the deadline is going to be the Baltimore Orioles. I did trade for Eloy Jimenez, Christian Pache, Austin Slater. They also traded for Zach Eflin, Trevor Rogers, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto. So they were very, very busy. Um, I think with how close this division is right now between the Yankees and O's, we come up here. They're sitting a half game up right now. They have the Yankees with a 55% chance to win the division, while the Orioles 44. I like that the O's went and deepened their club. They didn't
Hmm.
do anything that was like, hey, we went and got a impact player. They just got deeper.
Yep.
And with the Yankees injury woes that they tend to have sometimes, I think depth is going to go a long way. Obviously, they just called up Jackson Holiday. So he's going to be taking some at bats at second base at his first home run in his career today. But yeah, just adding a guy like Eloy who does have some pop. Yeah, he has the injury bug as well for himself, but
Yep.
this could be underrated. I mean, he's a free agent at the end of the year, so it's a low risk move. Austin Slater's just depth. But I really do like their pitching moves that they made. Before we get to the pitching, what do you think about that Eloy deal? I guess we'll really pinpoint on that one. Austin Slater and Pache are depth, so
Yeah. And just before we get into Eli, Westbrook got hurt today too. That's a big loss. He got hurt today against the Jays, so they're gonna need somebody to take some ABs at third base. Eloy is um it's an interesting move because his injuries are obviously notable, right? He's dealt with a lot of injuries, but let's not forget this guy was one of the best prospects in all of baseball coming up the system, right? He's a highly touted guy. Obviously, the Orioles didn't give up much for him, right? They're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle with this move and hoping that he can put together a couple of good 2 months and have some impact off the bench. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for him to come in and bat cleanup every day and hit home runs every AB. They're just looking for some competitive ABs, fill in for some guys, get them off their feet, play a nice DH role, maybe get some ABs there. I wouldn't expect him to play much in the field. I feel like he'll DH most of his ABs, but I mean that's a pretty good bench bat to have when he's healthy.
yeah, I think that this is basically just a platoon role with Ryan O'Hearn at
Yeah,
DH.
yeah.
So we'll see how well he hits lefties and maybe a little bit more protection around him in this lineup gets him going offensively.
Hmm.
But as we go into that pitching, this is where they really made an impact. They added two starters in Zach Eflin and Trevor Rogers. Eflin's been a workhorse for the Rays over the past 2 seasons. He
Yep,
does have a 4.11 ERA, but I mean he's solid.
yep.
He's going to eat those innings. He's not going to strike out too many guys, but he'll pitch to contact. And then Trevor Rogers has control, right? So they may lose Corbin Burns um, at the end of the year. We'll see. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball and hitting the free agency market. So to have a guy like Trevor Rogers coming up and being in your rotation for the next couple of seasons is going to go a long way, especially with John Means' injury, Kyle Bradish also getting Tommy John. They
Hmm.
kind of needed a starter that they have control of. Eflin has one more year of control as well.
Hmm.
So it kind of solidifies this rotation outside of Burns for the years to come. So
Yeah.
all in all, those starting pitching moves were really solid. They did give up quite a bit for Trevor Rogers.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it
But yeah,
helps though.
and
It helps when you got Rogers though. Sorry to cut you off there. For a couple of years, it helps soften the blow to give up a guy like Norby, pardon me, who hit 40 home runs in the minors, and obviously Stowers has had some major league ABs this year as well too. So
yeah,
obviously to get something, you got to give up something, and I guess both teams won on that word for sure.
yeah. And then, Sir Anthony Dominguez and Gregory Soto, those were kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
Obviously the Phillies went out and they traded for Carlos Estevez, but you would have thought they would have kept that together to have to deepen their bullpen. So I don't know if it was a money thing or they were just trying to replenish their farm system. They did get a pretty good arm from the O's for Gregory Soto, and they gave up two arms to the Angels to get Estevez. So maybe it was one of those things where they received a reliever that's on a hot streak, trade away a reliever and acquire a pitching prospect after they just gave up two. Maybe that was their logic. But I was very shocked to see two separate trades of Gregory Soto and Sir Anthony Dominguez going to the O's. I thought that the Phillies valued those guys. And obviously they pitched big innings for them this year. So I was very shocked to see those two players going to the O's. But
Yeah, and it just lengthens this bullpen too, right? Obviously, the big man Bautista is out for the year. They brought in Kimbrel on a 1 year deal. He's locked it down pretty solid. Obviously, 23 saves. But adding Dominguez and Soto, who both have closing experience, is big in the playoffs because you don't know. Kimbrel might come in the playoffs in the seventh inning, right? Say 1, 2, 3 come up in the seventh. Kimbrel might be the guy, and then you might need a guy that is able to close in big spots, and those guys have had experience of that in the past. So I think that is going to be very valuable for them, and it's also a bullpen that doesn't really have much experience as is in the playoffs, right? It's a pretty young core, right? So yeah, I think adding two veteran relievers was very smart for them.
yeah, definitely a solid trade deadline for the O's. The
And
next
this is
team
the
we're gonna
first year of going for it too, right? I mean, this is the first year that they've really gone aggressive at the deadline, right? 2 years ago, they were still in kind of building mode too. So yeah, sorry, just one more point there.
yeah, next team that had a pretty solid deadline was the Seattle Mariners. We'll call it a dead. I mean, it was before the deadline, but getting Randy Arozarena 72 hours from that deadline.
Mhm.
That's even though he's not having the best year. This is a team that desperately needed offense. Desperately needed offense. I mean, the Justin Turner and Ty France swap out. I mean, I think Justin Turner is a little bit better than Ty France,
Yeah.
even at 39 years old. Um, you know, but one thing that these two players do have in Rosarena and Turner is playoff experience.
Mhm.
And obviously Randy Rosarena hit all those homers in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Justin Turner's been to multiple playoffs and a World Series with the Dodgers. Um, so yeah, I think you can't put a price on those intangibles and that experience. And once they get JP Crawford back and J Rod, they're gonna have a nice little core here for at least this year with Rosarena, J Rod, Cal Raleigh, Turner. Blanco needs to pick it up. He has hit a little bit better of late.
Yeah.
And then they got to get Mitch Garver going. But they needed offense. It's one of the worst offenses in the league. And
Mhm.
they went and got a electric player, Randy Rosarena, and a seasoned vet that can hopefully help them win ball games in October, and Justin Turner. I think those were really two great moves by them.
Yeah, for them, and they really didn't give up um much prospect capital to get those two players too, right? Obviously, just the one prospect for Turner and then a couple prospects for a Rosarena. They got a Rosarena for next year as well. But yeah, this should lengthen the lineup when all the offense does come back. Polanco, like you mentioned, up to 213 batting average. He was batting below 200. So the power coming around a little bit. He's up to 10 homers, I guess. So picking up a little bit here as of late. But that bottom of the lineup looks pretty ugly right now, but when those two come back, everyone just slides down. So it definitely does get deeper.
Yeah, 100%. And then they also made a move for Yami Garcia, which was it's going to really deepen that back end of the bullpen. Their bullpen's already pretty solid
Hmm.
between Snyder, Chargois, and Saucedo. Obviously, now they're adding Garcia in that back end with Andres Munoz, so that's going to give them a nice little 1-2 punch there. So, yeah, I mean, this they did have to give up a little bit for Garcia,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, this is a team that has an opportunity to go do something in the playoffs, which they haven't done in 20 plus years. I mean,
Yep.
they did win a series against the Jays that one year and then lost in the DS. But
Houston. Yep.
yeah, to get back there and to make a run, it's definitely possible, especially with this pitching that they have. And
Yeah.
this starting pitching is unreal. And it's gonna win them ball games that it has all season. And to deepen it with our Rosarena and our Turner, you get back JP Crawford and J Rod at some point in the near future.
Hmm.
This is a team that could be sneaky in October.
But yeah,
So,
I mean, when you're in October, man, I mean, you got to face Kirby, Gilbert, and Castillo in a playoff series. That's gonna be tough. And then you throw in a Bryce Miller in there too. That's gonna be they're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs if they can get timely hits.
yep. And our last winner of the deadline is going to have to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
Um, Again, didn't make any moves that were going to crazily impact their team offensively, at least I should say. But they made more depth moves that are going to pay dividends in October. Obviously, Freddie Freeman's dealing with a family issue right now. They're going to be getting him back. And then Mookie Betts is right around the corner as well. So
Mhm.
you get Betts back, and Freeman, once his family issue is taken care of, you got Shohei in there. This lineup's going to get really deep. It doesn't look great right now
No.
because some guys are out, but it's going to get deep. They traded for Kevin Kiermaier. They signed Nick Ahmed right next to the deadline as well. But where they got better uh, was in their bullpen and in their rotation. So,
Yeah.
sorry, in the rotation with Jack Flaherty. I was very surprised to see James Paxton get moved,
Hmm.
especially with Clayton Kershaw coming off shoulder surgery, not knowing how he's going to bounce back from that. Bueller's hurt, Yamamoto's hurt, but they went and got Jack Flaherty with a 2.95 ERA with 162 thirds innings pitched this year. His walks are significantly down. He's striking out a ton of batters. This is going to be a great move, it looks like, from the Dodgers standpoint. It's going to give him a guy that has playoff experience and was once an ace with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
So um, they also did impact their bullpen in a three-way trade, getting Michael Kopech. This ERA doesn't look great, but he was a starter at the beginning of the year. Became the closer for the White Sox, who haven't won many games since moving to the bullpen. He's been unreal.
Yeah.
So they're getting a guy that throws high triple digits. Right here, triple digits, 100, 102. And Michael Kopech, play him in the back end of your bullpen. You'll have Hudson, Trinan, Phillips, and Kopech. I mean, Joe Kelly, Alex Vesia has been a dog all year. Their bullpens got significantly deeper, and they also got Tommy Edman, who hasn't played a game yet this year, but is going to be a utility man once he comes back. He has years of control. Pretty much, if I had to guess, means the end of either Kike or Biggio.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and yeah, he's gonna be that new utility guy, that Chris Taylor, even that new Chris Taylor role for the Dodgers. And to put the cherry on top, they also added Ahmed Rosario, who is batting 300 this year and can also play a bunch of positions. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just solid deadline.
This was a very calculated deadline. They didn't take too many risks. All their moves were pretty low key. I think adding a guy like Kevin Kiermaier is going to be awesome for this team in the playoffs. He's gold glove caliber, platinum glove caliber, fourth outfielder, ninth inning replacement guy. And getting Mookie Betts back is like getting superstar at the deadline, right? I mean, he's been out for a while. Max Muncy's still hurt too. He's on his way back. Bueller's on a rehab assignment right now, I was reading. So this team is about to get some reinforcements in a hurry. And I mean, they're probably going to go to the World Series if I had to guess, to be honest. This team is deep. The pitching's deep. I'm with you. They probably shouldn't have got rid of Paxton. It's never hurts to have too much starting pitching depth, but yeah, their bench is going to be really deep whenever everyone comes back. Probably one of the deepest in the league. So, yeah, really good deadline for them.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, now it's time to pick on some teams. I think first, let's go with the Minnesota Twins. This is a team that is sitting sixth back of their division. They're in a wild card race right now, and they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, they got Trevor Richards. That's what they got.
yeah.
Who has a 4.64 ERA in 52 innings and doesn't strike out too many guys.
No.
So, um, I was very, I was very surprised. I thought they could have added one more arm, even though Bailey Ober and Simon Woods Richardson has been really good this year. They could have went the Seattle Mariners route where they go get a nice fifth starter to put in that two. Right now, Joe Ryan this year has pretty much been their ace. Pablo Lopez has not pitched to his potential.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to see them maybe try to go after a Jack Flaherty, even though it was interdivision, or go get a
Even a
top
James
tier arm.
Paxton would have been not bad for this team.
Yeah. So yeah, they didn't do anything in the pitching side of things other than get Trevor Richards. Their bullpen's been good this year. It's been their
Mhm.
bread and butter.
Yeah.
And then offensively, it just is what it is. I mean, they don't hit too many homers. They don't have one guy in here that's hit 20 home runs.
Hmm.
They could have went and got a bat, um, and I just feel like this is a big missed opportunity for the Twins, even though they're 6 games back. I mean, the pitching
Well,
the pitching could win you some games. So
yeah, I was reading that they're trying to cut payroll again. They cut $35 million last year. They're trying to cut some more payroll. So that probably played a factor into them doing anything significant salary wise, potentially. So when you look at it that way, yeah, I guess that's where they're coming from. I mean, it's the Twins have never really been like a big market, like splashy deadline team. They're a draft developed team, sprinkling a couple free agents here and there. But yeah, I was surprised they didn't at least add one bat for sure. I think they could have used definitely one more for sure.
I think a bat and even just another starting pitcher would
Yeah.
have been, to me, this guy didn't get traded, so this is also the Angels are a loser for this. Tyler Anderson, I feel like would have been a perfect fit. He's got, ERA 2.9 to a 3 after his last start. He was an all-star. He's been pretty much Dodgers Tyler Anderson this season. I feel like that could have been a guy that the Twins could have targeted. He's only making 13 million a year.
Even a
You
guy like
know,
Grant Heifer would have been a good fit on this team.
yeah.
Like he could play some middle infield for him. So yeah,
Steal bags.
yeah,
They don't really steal bags and they don't really hit home runs. So
no,
it's just timely hits and pitching at this point. So
yeah, yep,
interesting not to see them get better at this deadline, especially with them in a prime position to make the playoffs and
yep,
still a chance to win this division. So
yep, yep.
second loser of this deadline will be the Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah. I mean, they acquired Frankie Montas. They did need some pitching. Uh, the fact is that Christian Yelich is going to probably be out for the rest of the season. So they're going to need their young kids to step up. It is what it is, but this is a team that could have went and got an outfielder. Um, you saw Brian De La Cruz go off the board.
Hmm.
There was guys out there that they definitely could have went and acquired. Um, Jazz Chisholm, they could have went for him. I
They could have
mean,
went for a guy like Randy Arozarena. I feel like he would have been a really good fit on this
yeah,
team as well.
yeah. So to do nothing offensively for this team, even though they've been rolling, and they
Hmm.
steal a lot of bags. They're crafty. They find ways to win. To not go and get a guy that can help you go win in the playoffs when you are cruising to a division title. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
the Cardinals are 5 games back, but they're 61 and 47. They've been great all year. Uh, they as long as they're consistent, they should win this division. Um, but these teams went and got better. The Pirates and the Cardinals went and got better. So we'll see
Hmm.
what happens now. Um, but yeah, the Brewers have been the best team in this division all season long. To not go do anything offensively was kind of a bummer to see. They did add Aaron Savali a couple weeks back, way
Yep.
prior to the deadline. He hasn't been great for them. Um, they went and got Frankie Montas, who has a 5 year ERA, going to be a free agent at the end of the year. It's a mutual option, so he'll be a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, they got Devin
Only a
Williams back too, so that's a huge piece, the back end. But yeah, the thing is that Yelich is he has the keys to drive the offense. Like he is the ignition of that offense. And for them not to get a middle of the order of the bat, like right now they got Jake Bauer hitting 3 hole right now. I mean, I'm not sure how long that's gonna last, but yeah, I'm not sure where they're gonna go here. But yeah, they gotta get some internal improvement for sure.
I mean, look at this bullpen. I mean, it hasn't been great.
Yeah,
They could have at least went and got some bullpen arms.
yeah,
I mean, there was a Urseg, there was Scott, there was Estevez, all the other relievers that were traded that were more like middle relief guys.
yeah,
I mean, they had an opportunity. Again, Christian Yelich right now is only lower back inflammation, but from what's been leaked, it's
yeah.
not looking promising.
Yeah, he's
So,
seen a spine specialist right now for a second opinion. So whenever you're going to get second and third opinions, that's when it's not good. So
yeah.
yeah, this team underwhelming deadline, but like they're not a team that they're like the Twins, man. They're not known for going out and just oh wow, the Brewers went out and got this guy. It's just like we just
I
haven't
mean,
really
they have in the
seen that.
past though. I mean,
Yeah, I
they went.
guess.
I mean, way back they got CC, they got Moustakis. I mean,
Yeah,
they've done stuff in the past when they really could, had a chance to go win something. So,
yeah,
it is a young team. Their
yeah,
identity is to steal bags and make things happen and score runs that way. They're really good at it. You see that 32 from Terang and 12, 12, 14. Even Reese Hoskins got two right here. William Contreras has five. Like that's what they do is timely hit and steal bags and make things happen. So, um, I'm not worried about the Brewers. I just wish that they would have helped themselves when it came to October.
yeah,
So, yeah, and our last choice for a loser of the deadline is gonna have to be the Houston Astros.
yeah,
Um, okay, so they've went through how many first basemen this year? I mean, they got John Singleton out there right now, 8 homers, 231 average, 315 OBP, and he's slugging 350.
yeah.
It's not great.
No.
You're telling me that they couldn't have gone and got Josh Bell,
Hmm.
ate some of that money, brought that on, or they could have, Ty France was available for nothing. Justin Turner was available for pretty much nothing.
Yep.
Like all of those options sound better than John Singleton.
Yep.
So another team that I'm sure they'll be there in the end because they're rolling right now and they're the Houston Astros and they find ways to win. But for a team that usually goes out and makes big moves at the deadline to do nothing was very, very interesting to me.
Yep.
Um, yeah, this offense definitely could have used one more bat. I don't know. They might go and win the World Series, but past, the 5 hole, this doesn't look like a World Series lineup. This doesn't look like the Houston Astros.
No, it doesn't. Like I was shocked that they didn't get a first baseman. Like that's been their biggest need all season long, right? Abreu didn't work. They signed for that big contract, didn't work. They flat out released him, right? And it's just been a revolving door, like you mentioned. And for them not to solidify that in itself, we'll get to the Kikuchi in a second here. That in itself makes them losers for me because they didn't fill their biggest need. And if you want to be a serious World Series contending team, you gotta be deep offensively. And this team just it doesn't look that deep right now.
I mean, they are in first place, or it looks like now they're a half game back of
Yeah.
the Mariners. They've had to scratch and claw, but they're only 3 games over 500. Like they
Yeah.
have not been great this year.
Yeah.
They've been playing good baseball as of late.
Yeah. The 30 and
And
17 in the last 47 games. So
yeah, so they're winning games as of late,
mhm.
but but this isn't a team like if the Astros play the Yankees this year. I think the Yankees are going to win.
Yankees are
And it's
probably winning
usually
five.
the Astros are the team usually to beat. So, um, they still do have Altuve and Bregman, Jordan. Um, no, also a guy that's not showing up here is Bregman. He'll be back. Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. He's right here.
He's right
Bregman's
there.
right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yainer Diaz, he just came back, right? He was just banged
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy Pena's having a better year than he did last year. Um, I don't know. It's weird, a weird deal. But yeah, let's get to it. They did nothing in their bullpen.
No.
I mean, if you count Caleb Ferguson, sure. Um, but they did nothing in their bullpen to get better, but it's already pretty solid. Abreu's been better of late. Presley's been good. And don't look at the ERA. It's Josh Hader at the end of the day. So
Mhm.
only walked 15 guys. It's just he's getting bit by the long ball a little bit. So,
Yep.
but yeah, they have Yusei Kikuchi penciled in as their number 2 starter right now. Obviously, you hope to get Verlander back at least. I
Yep.
mean, let's see. These are all the injuries to that
Yeah.
starting
Look,
rotation.
it's a whole rotation that's hurt right now.
Garcia and Javier, TJ. McCullers is supposed to be back, but it's been a slow burn on that.
Yeah.
Urquidy, TJ, and Verlander neck discomfort. And also, I mean, Verlander's 41 years old, so who knows? Kyle Tucker, that's who's hurt right now.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker. Yeah.
Kyle Tucker's hurt right now.
Yeah.
So that's who I knew we were missing somebody. But
Yeah.
yeah, they gave up a haul for Yusei Kikuchi. And Yusei Kikuchi's only going to be there for 2 months.
Yeah.
So
It's
what was it? It was Loper Fido. You would know.
it
Loper
was Loper
Fido.
Fido, Jake Bloss, and Will starts his last name starts to be his dad was in the major leagues.
Wagner.
Wagner or WME. Yeah, Will Wagner. So they
Billy
gave up their
Wagner's son.
second and third prospects and their number 17th prospect for 2 months of Yusei Kikuchi. Don't get me wrong. Is Yusei Kikuchi an interesting guy for sure? He throws 98 from the left side. He's got tremendous stuff. He's got a wipeout slider. They've totally transformed the way he pitches. They got rid of the cutter. It's fastball, slider, and it's a changeup mixed in. But am I banking on Yusei Kikuchi be the number 2 starter on a playoff team? Probably not. He doesn't have much experience pitching in the playoffs. And
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to say it. We've looked this up. Yusei Kikuchi has a 7.71 ERA in
yeah,
Minute Maid Park.
yeah, it's bad. And he has a 7.45 ERA in his last 7 starts. So it's not like you can justify and be like, oh, well, he has a 2 ERA in the last month. He's been bad. Like it's been a struggle. His walks are up again, right? And like he's got strikeout stuff. He's gonna strike out the world, man. He's got 130 strikeouts and 115 innings, as you can see right there. But I don't know to give up that much. It might have been take your pick between Tanner Scott and Yusei Kikuchi for overpays at the deadline. That's kind of the class that they're in, and there isn't very many Astros fans that are happy on social media. Like they're calling for Dana Brown's head right now over this trade. Like it's Jake Bloss. Jake Bloss is going to be starting games for the Jays this year, and Loper Fido just made his Jays debut today. So they're going to be making impacts for the Jays, and yeah, for them not to do much offensively, then go and overpay for Kikuchi, it's not a great look for the Astros.
And granted, yeah, he does have a 7.7 ERA in Minute Maid Park, but that was when Kikuchi was on the division rival Seattle Mariners a couple
Yeah.
years back.
Yeah.
Different guy than he is now.
Oh, for sure.
And also had to go against powerhouse Astros teams when he was going there. So
Yep.
make what you will of that, but he is a guy that's does give up the long ball sometimes, and it's a pretty short porch for both sides there. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna do it for this one. As always, we appreciate you guys for listening. Over 1,000 subs now. I think we're at 1,200 now.
Yep.
Let's keep that growing, and yeah, we appreciate you guys. See you on the next one. Later.